Look forward to what this season brings for us. Really excited about it. When you talk about what we're looking for, it always starts with leadership. And I just want to echo again, I'm not going to beat it up too much, but the leadership that we have at the league office with Don Lucia, Dom, Kevin, Dean, with the support of our presidents and administration has allowed us to get to this point. And as you're hearing it being echoed for every coach that comes in, we're all excited about what's in front of us. And for us right now, what we're excited about is moving on to the next stage, turning the page. And for us, we're going to utilize some experience of our own with people that have gone through positive, negative, multiple moments throughout our journey here as a program as we continue to try and climb the ladder. And any successful team starts with goaltending. And so we'll be leaning on Dryden Mckay, who has set an awful lot of records inside our program and very much deserved recognition for him nationally because of what he's accomplished so far in his career, and look forward to him to continue that journey, along with leaning upon some veteran defensemen that are coming back in Jack McNeely, Jake Livingstone, Akito Hiroshi, Andy Carroll, our captain, Wyatt Mott. Those guys need to come back and establish us getting out of our end as quick as possible and executing what we want to execute on a day in, day out basis. And then relying upon some guys that I thought really separated themselves at the most important time of the year for not only ourselves, but our program at finally getting to a Frozen Four. And, you know, that's Nathan Smith, Reggie Lutz, Julian Napravnik, Brendan Furry, Ryan Sandelin. Those guys, I thought, played their best hockey at the most important time of the year. And so we're looking forward to then coming back and establishing a presence for us, not only on the ice, but in the locker room for our new guys. We've got 4 new transfers. We've, you know, to give you a number, we lost 11 and we brought 10 in. So we do have a pretty good turnover from what we had a year ago to where we're at this year. And we're going to need that leadership as well as the influx of new talent and character to carry us early because of the schedule that we're going to have. We play a very aggressive non-conference schedule, starting out at UMass here the first weekend of the year, coming back and playing St. Cloud, who ended our season, and then the following weekend going up to Duluth and playing in the Icebreaker. And so we've got a lot on our plate. We're excited about getting started, excited about what's going on with the CCHA. We've shown ourselves very well up until this point, and now we as a group of programs, universities, have to do the next step and carry the water from here on out.
Thank you, Mike. We'll open it up to media. Again, if you have a question for Head Coach Mike Hastings, please utilize the raise hand feature at the bottom of your Zoom window. And once it's your turn, you will be allowed to unmute yourself. And please state your name and your affiliation before asking your question. Start things off, Amanda.
Hi, Mike. Amanda Levine from the Toledo Blade. You already mentioned Brendan, but what are your expectations for him this year?
Well, we need to have Brendan take the next step. If you watched our last 4 or 5 games of our previous season, Brendan stepped up in many different ways, not only in his value as a top 6 forward, top 2 centerman, but in all special teams. He was killing penalties for us. He was on our power play. You know, previously he's gone through some down times just injury-wise. When he came out of junior hockey, he had to have surgery. It was a second surgery. And so it's taken him a little bit of time, but with his off-ice training this summer and with the maturity of being able to be surrounded by some pretty good people and hockey players in his first 2 years here, we're expecting a lot of really big things from him, really in all aspects, in the locker room and on the ice.
Kevin?
Mike, yesterday you got a lot of preseason awards. Your team did. I know that doesn't necessarily translate to wins and losses on the ice, but nice to get your program get that recognition, especially for some of the players that got it.
Yeah, it was good to see those young men be recognized. Nathan Smith, I can go through just a couple of them. Nathan Smith has had a tremendous summer in the weight room, and to see his maturity both on and off the rink, we're gonna try and capitalize on that early this year. His standing in the locker room and the responsibilities that he's going to take on as our number one center over this year is somebody that is going to have a tremendous amount of responsibility from our coaching staff and the people that are surrounding him. Akito Hiroshi, again, good summer, continues to get better every single year. Is a guy that plays in all situations for us. His puck poise and really just his demeanor around the rink endears him to both coaches and his teammates. And so he'll have a lot on his plate early as we try to progress, like I said, with our early season schedule. Dryden Mckay, we've already talked about him. He's somebody that's going to have to continue what he's doing and take another step. Nobody challenges Dryden more than Dryden does. And then the returning player of the year, our offensive player of the year, Julian Napravnik. All those guys are a core for us, and we're hoping that they can pick up where they left off last season.
Jess Myers.
Hi, Mike. Jess Myers from the Rink Live. At some point, I expect you'll hang a banner that says Frozen Four 2021. How do you balance, or how much do you balance putting last year behind you, forgetting about it, moving on, with this group? And how much do you want them to build off the thought that, hey, we had a third period lead in a Frozen Four game and we were that close, and we just need to take another step, that kind of thing. How do you balance those?
Well, just like I think you balance anything in life, you try to enjoy the highs when you have them and learn from the lows. And it was great going through the regional and winning the regional out in Loveland, even in the manner that we did. We didn't have a great start against Quinnipiac, but found a way to win that game. Played very well against Minnesota to win the regional, and peaks and valleys in the game against St. Cloud that we've got to continue to learn from. But that hurt, when we didn't have an opportunity to compete for a national championship. You learn from the things that hurt a little bit more than you probably do from the things that feel good. And so our balance is this: we're turning the page, but you can't buy experience. So we want to rely upon the experience that these young men have had in their time that they've been with our program, have them pass that on to the guys that are new to our program, and look forward. Don't look backward. And our group's done a very good job of that so far. We need to keep crushing our days as they're getting limited here prior to getting us out to UMass. So we'll stay balanced looking forward with understanding what has happened in the past and try and benefit from those experiences.
Daniel?
Hey, Coach. Daniel McElroy. I'm your reporter. Just touching back on Dryden Mckay, one goaltender of the year, bunch of accolades. How much does he focus on those accolades, specifically like the Ryan Miller shutout record, or is he only focused on a championship at this point?
Well, I think that's an interesting question. I haven't talked to Dryden about that in the time that he's been here, about Ryan Miller's numbers or the, whether it's wins, whether it's shutouts, those types of things. And it's not that I don't talk to Dryden Mckay. I talk to him every day. So I think his focus has always been on he's an incredibly humble young man. When you have somebody with the qualities that Dryden has away from the game, it endears him to his teammates inside that locker room. And he might look like he's got a very quiet demeanor, which he does, but I know that fire inside his belly burns at a very high rate. And so, he believes there's still a lot of people out there that question him as a goaltender. And he's trying to answer those questions every day in how he approaches his work. And so it's an opportunity for Dryden this year to write some of his own history. And he's been doing that day in and day out since he stepped foot on this campus, and we expect nothing different going forward.
Dave?
Hi, Mike. Dave Danis, 100.3 The Point, Marquette. I take a look at the most recent conference there, and I think, you and Bob are the guys that have had consistent staffs all the way through, and a change for you this year. What kind of effect does that have on the room and the process that you have? And two, what kind of positives will a new voice bring to that process?
I appreciate you having the perspective that you have, Dave. For us, I've been spoiled from day one since I've been here. I've had the same staff as far as the two assistant coaches, and Todd Connaught as my associate head coach, who I think is one of the brightest minds in college hockey, and Darren Blue, who had been here for 21 years. And when you lose that, there's change, and there's a little bit of regret on that ends, but we've chosen to look at it as what a pleasure we've had to be able to have the consistency that we've had on our staff. And I do believe sometimes, and including the commissioner that is leading our league, I was fortunate enough to work with him on his staff, and he has said before, and I agree with it, that sometimes change is good. And so it allows us to reset a little bit as a staff, look at ourselves in a different manner. And then there's new energy, new life in the locker room, and his communication and what he brings to the table. And Paul Kirtland, who had been at Yale University and has been around junior hockey at multiple levels, whether that's North American League, the USHL, Division III hockey, Sacred Heart, and then being at Yale, we think he can bring a lot to the table to not only challenge our players, but to challenge myself and Todd Connaught for us to be better. So we're looking forward to what's in front of us, just like the players. We can't look backward. We're going to miss Darren. He's still in town. Still going to have lifelong relationships with him and his family, and look forward to him moving on in his next journey as somebody in our community, a very important person. But he's always going to be a part of Maverick hockey, and we're welcoming Paul Kirtland and his wife, Colleen, to our family here in Mankato.
Jess?
Mike, it's Jess Myers from the Rink Live again. Talking about your schedule, especially the non-conference portion of it. There's a joke that some coaches need to win Atlantic hockey in October before they'll play a conference game, but you're kind of going a different route. I'm just wondering who put that non-conference schedule together, and what are you hoping to know about your team come about Halloween?
Well, I'll take a little piece in that, as well as Darren Blue, who did a lot of our non-conference scheduling. So I can't completely throw him under the bus because I was driving right with him. 4 months ago, this seemed like a really good idea. And as it gets closer, you wonder a little bit, but it's a challenge. Year in and year out, we as a program have tried to schedule non-conference games in a real aggressive manner. And that's for hopefully having our players being prepared at the end of the year, and us making sure our book of business, come the time that the NCAA has decided on who gets to move on, that our book of business is good enough for us to be able to play at the dance. It's worked for us before, but again, when you schedule those games, you've got to win some of them. And so our focus right now going out to UMass is trying to get off to a good start. We know they'll be hanging a banner as an NCAA champion there, coming back and playing against a very good St. Cloud State team who's picked to win the NCHC in our own building, and then going up to Duluth. And I don't have to tell you about what Duluth has done over the years with us playing Providence. And then on the other side, we're either playing Duluth or Michigan. So we're excited about it because it's an opportunity to look in the mirror, and we want to judge ourselves against the best competition that we can. And that's going to happen within the CCHA this year. When you look at Michigan Tech, you look at Bemidji, Tech was within a game of getting there, and BSU did what they did to Wisconsin. Both of them have 22 players returning. I just listened to Ty, I listened to Grant, and there's no outs in the CCHA regular season schedule. So that combined with our non-conference is a challenge that we're looking forward to getting started here sooner than later.
Okay, again, apologize. We do have to move on. We're well over schedule. Mike, thanks so much for your time.
Dom, thanks. One thing I want to say, I have to apologize to Tom. I have to apologize to Ty. I did go to my guy here in town that I get my suits from couldn't find one on the rack that was purple. Decided to go with a little bit of a purple shirt. So I apologize to those two guys, and you guys crush the rest of this day. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. And if you're just joining us, there was an agreement between the three coaches where Tom was going to wear his green blazer. Ty obviously wore his orange one, and that Mike was supposed to wrap up with purple, but he could not find one. Let's go to St. Thomas now.